Should I have the old...
Yeah.
We're live?
Pull up the...
All right.
We need any questions?
Do we need to give everybody 5 seconds to actually get on?
We'll let them get acquainted with us.
I don't think there's a delay.
Do you think I'll pull an audience today?
Yeah.
Don't think so. They're gonna be Megan who? How do you say her last? Is that Megan Giles?
Well,
Giles?
We do
Gilles?
have that a lot. There is a lot of debate over
Gilles,
your last name.
Giles. Let's start with that. So I'm
Okay.
Leo Olson, Paul Carlson. We're here with Megan
Gilles.
Gilles.
So it's
Gilles.
Yes, it sounds just like Gillis. Yeah, Gilles.
Megan Gilles.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. Thanks
But
for
if
coming in.
you're welcome. It was a nice drive. But you can call me Gilles, Gilles,
Gilles.
Gilles, and I will still turn and go, hi. What? How can I help you? So.
That's awesome. So you are a newer agent.
Yes.
Ish.
Mm-hmm.
You have some experience in the past, and then you
Yes.
raised some kids, and now you're back at it.
Yes.
Is that
So like in my
synopsis?
20s, I
Yeah.
sold a house by owner in
Okay.
3 days.
Okay.
But that
Wow.
was, the market was really good back then.
Yeah.
I have that going on my side. So, but no, we bought and sold a lot of homes, my husband and I. And then in 2013, my husband said to me, "You need to get your real estate license. I'm never moving again."
Okay.
So if you want to
Feed this
do
some
the house
other way.
thing, you can do this
Yeah.
with real estate.
Yes, so that's the joke I tell. It's only partly true. But so I got my license and I worked at Remax West, which used to be Remax Muskegon. And then my kids weren't doing great. And I had a couple in middle school and I had one in elementary, and it was a difficult decision, but we needed to homeschool for a little bit. And so I stopped. I escrowed my license and I homeschooled my kids for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the best decision I ever made. They did really well. And they're all back in school now. So,
Oh, that's good.
so I've been back at it for less than a year.
Okay.
Yes. So I was 2 years-ish before, and now less than a year. So yeah, I'm fairly new.
Okay. And you're on the coast, Muskegon area. Is that right?
Coast. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the coast.
We're on the west coast of
West Coast.
Michigan.
We do call it the West Coast office.
Yeah.
I know. That's awesome.
So we asked a couple questions, and I thought this was interesting that as a kid you lived in a cabin in the woods.
I did.
No electricity, no running water.
No.
What was that like? And how did that come about?
It's exactly how you would imagine it.
Okay.
um,
Like in a cabin
hold on.
or
No
a
running
teepee?
water.
No running water.
Wow.
We had a pump, but you have to prime a pump,
Yeah.
right? And to this day, I still
Like
remember.
the old well pumps?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it was like we had a countertop right in our little cabin, and so there was a pump well sticking
Okay.
out of our countertop.
Wow.
And as little kids, it was our job. Once my mom primed the pump, we'd get up on the counter and we'd pump until the bucket was full or whatever, and it was our drinking water.
How many people?
There's
Siblings?
5 of us,
Five
so
of us.
3 kids and my parents. So
In Michigan?
yeah, in the Upper Peninsula,
Oh, UP.
way up there. You ever been up there and gone to that little tiny town called Champion?
Nope.
Nope.
There's a little tiny
I've gone
town up
camping up there. It's a funny story. My father Greg took me and my 2 brothers camping in the UP. When there's a bunch of guys that would take all their kids up there and they bring
Yeah,
guns
yeah.
and 4-wheelers, and it's like this big thing. So we're like, oh, it was like through church connections. We're like, well, we should go on this trip. So we go, have no idea what we're doing. Metta's never taken us camping before. So we get to the UP, and we didn't realize how cold it would get at night.
Yeah.
So the first night we went to bed, and so we went to bed, and it was so cold, and we were so ill prepared that we had to go get in our van, and we had to sleep in the van. So when everyone else woke up, there's like this van like running, and it was like, oh god, it's Greg and his kids. in the van. So we were kind of like the laughing stock of the campsite. But it was so cold, our water jug froze overnight. Mm-hmm. Went back the next year, and we were sweating because we were so prepared now. But anyways, that's my UP camping story. We were.
It's typical Michigan.
Yeah.
You don't like the weather, wait 5
So that's
minutes.
kind of interesting. Were like you farmers or homesteaders or
hippies.
hippies? All
My
right.
parents were hippies. I have a picture of my dad sitting
Nice.
on an enormous pile of logs, long red hair and a bandana on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is that you said you are kind of an unconventional parent.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could give an example. Would it be related to how you were raised?
No.
Oh,
Oh, gosh,
okay.
no.
Okay.
No. My parents were very traditional, and as far as parenting went, you obey.
Yeah.
You spoke when spoken to,
Mm-hmm.
I listened to my dad. I was spanked, and those were the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And you hunted probably and
No.
okay.
No. But Those were the rules. So, as an unconditional parent, or unconventional parent, I don't punish my kids.
Okay.
I think life is enough punishment. I don't think you have to make stuff up to punish kids.
Okay.
So, if I feel like my child has done something disrespectful, it's really simple to change that behavior. You simply say, "Is that really how you want to talk to me?" And it changes, and if you can maintain that relationship with your children and you always put that relationship first, discipline and punishment it's not even something you need to think about.
It's more like a corrective conversation.
It's a corrective conversation. And so I don't hit my kids. Now, remember how somewhere in there I wrote down that I've learned all of my successes, like all my successes come from failure? Yeah, so let's talk about like how I used to parent. So I used to parent like a traditional parent, spanking my toddlers, and I started to realize that this wasn't working.
Yeah.
Especially not for my youngest child who was not yet diagnosed. Really not working. In fact, making everything worse. And so that was where I went on the hunt to learn, and I read voraciously about parenting and about child development, and my background's in child development. I was a teacher, and then I started to realize that, oh my gosh, this is not, the traditional way of parenting is not only unnecessary, it can be damaging. It wasn't damaging to us because our parents also maintained that strong relationship with us, in addition to that traditional parenting of spanking and punishing. But that spanking and punishing part's unnecessary. Really is.
Yeah.
So.
You disagree? You want to?
No. My kids are all angels.
You don't want to take a stand here.
But if y'all
you don't want to share how you discipline your children.
if y'all punish your kids, I'm not judging you. Really, you do you, I do me.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Cool.
You have young kids.
I do. I have an 8-year-old, 5-year-old, and a 6-month-old.
Yeah. So you have a lot of opportunities to form behavior.
My oldest child is extremely responsive, and when she knows she's pushed us or when she can see that we're getting stressed, she'll key in on it, and she'll just say, hey, she'll actually stop me and she'll say, I'm so sorry that we made that hard on you, Dad. And I'm like, because I was not that kid. I was my second child, Clara. I was explosive. I was, I would react loudly. I would, and so Clara will definitely react extremely loudly and sort of strong reactions to everything. So I just give her time to go to her room, and then I'll wander back up to her room. I've learned that you can't go in there when she's hot, but that she's not receptive to you at that point. So you have to wait until she's able to receive the conversation. Then I just go back in and we talk about it. And I kind of take a similar approach where we talk about it. And
so when people say to me, well, how do you do all that? I mean, and it's really, really one very basic principle, and it's this. You have to treat your child like they're an adult whose opinion you value and who you want to respect you.
Much like a real estate client.
Right,
Probably.
right.
And nice transition.
Great transition.
Yeah, thank you.
So, anyway.
So, thank you. There's all kinds of good stuff hopefully we'll get into with you, asking questions and stuff. We're going to play our game.
Awesome.
So, I'm going to ask a question. We're all going to answer. First thing that pops into your head. Okay? So, no right or wrong answers.
Okay.
Favorite temperature to sleep at?
65.
65, 64.
I'm like 70.
What?
Are you
If
serious?
it goes over
sweating.
70,
Roast?
yeah.
Do you wear a blanket? Do you have a blanket?
I just answered the question.
Okay, sorry.
What?
So no judgment zone.
under
Sorry.
attack here.
Sorry, it's no judgment zone.
Right.
Favorite cheat food? Like if you have to cheat.
Cheat food?
Yeah, like cheat. Like you're like, all bets are out. I'm just gonna eat this.
Wine.
Okay, that's fine.
Big time.
Mine would it's Milk Duds. Love Milk Duds.
Yeah.
That's Milk Duds last week. I don't think I have such a thing as a cheat food, because the way that I look at food is I'm just like, if I make room for it, I either work out more or I just adjust my eating else like in another way. So, but I would say one of my favorite like snacky things.
Yeah.
Probably, honestly, if there's like jerky around.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm like, give me that jerky.
I got some jerky.
It's not really
I
that bad for you.
No, I like jerky. I like cheese. I like salty.
You're not a
stuff.
sweet guy.
No.
Okay. Awesome. The last actual book you read.
I'm not making this up. I truly had just picked up the 7 Levels of Communication.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it from you
Nice.
guys, actually.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Freebie. Nice.
Yeah. So, Before that one, it was, just so I'm not, doesn't look like I'm cheating, I'm not cheating. Before that, I read Never Split the Difference by that, by the FBI
I think I've heard
Hostage
this.
Negotiator.
You told me about this a while ago. Yeah.
That is a
Difference.
good book.
I gotta check that out. It sounds
That is a
interesting.
good book. But then I have a story about how I failed with that one too, so keep going.
Mine is Sing to It. It's a short story collection by Amy Hemphill.
Aw.
The last book I read, this is so
Actual
funny.
book.
This is funny. The last book I personally picked up and read,
Yeah.
probably Franklin Barbecue.
Okay.
What is that?
It's a book on barbecue. It's like a barbecue manifesto. It's about
Oh.
like cooking temps and meat and smoke and the type of smoke you want.
Can
And
you see his Instagram?
but the last book that I had actually listened to or something like that was probably a book on. It's called The Little Book of Huga, which is about like living in like a Scandinavian kind of a way. That's probably the last book that I actually read.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
I'm leaning towards cats now. I have dogs, but
We literally just had this conversation after tacos today. I was like, I can't understand cat people. Like, who wants to work for the affection of the cat? Like, you have to like become buddies. Anyways, I'm a dog person all the way.
okay. And then the last one is your favorite Marvel or DC character. You know movies?
I don't know what those are.
Marvel, like
Action hero type
action
things.
heroes.
Yeah.
Favorite cartoon you ever saw?
Yeah.
Nothing?
I'm just not a cartoon person.
Okay, I'm
Sorry.
an Iron Man guy.
Are you?
Yep.
Oh, I would say I really like Tony Stark from Iron Man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Wonder
How about
Woman.
that?
There we go.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually ran a marathon dressed as Wonder Woman once.
There we go.
really?
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So great.
All right, Leo.
A little more
That's our game.
clothed, though. A little
You're
extra
gonna-
clothing.
Are we diving right into real estate?
So we're diving into real estate.
All right, take us there.
Oh, boy, here we go.
So, well, let's talk about this because usually we ask how many stats and how many have you sold and stuff like that, and you said you had an interesting response in your questions that you don't look at stats. So how do you get going? What's your mindset?
Okay, so there's another question about mindset. If I want to really mess up my mindset, I'll go look at my stats and be depressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Start comparing.
yeah, well, so I'm new, right? This is
Yeah.
all new to me. And you had asked, well, you're having kind of a weird year, and I'm like, well, everything's weird.
Yeah, what's normal?
I don't know what's normal at this point for me, anyway. I've tried a lot of different things. I did Zillow for a while. I just cut out Zillow, so I think some of my business came from that, and I'm just trying to shift things. So yeah, my first quarter hasn't been what I would want it to be, but it was actually fairly convenient because I had a lot going on at home. So
Yeah.
I mean, and that was okay for me.
Are
Not
you-
okay for everyone, but for
Are
me
you a
it was.
goal setter?
Um,
Like, do you go? I want to do annual goals, quarterly goals, daily goals.
I am a goal setter, but it's not with numbers usually.
Okay.
It's with action. You know, like
That's great.
today my goal is to, spend this much time doing whatever. So that can be, it's more it's not more measurable, but it's more achievable. My actual, I have more control over it, and I have to rely less on what
Those we call
other people are
those
doing.
lead measures.
Yeah.
Things you can actually change today versus like,
Yeah.
versus like going, I want to sell 100 houses this year. It's like, well, okay, well, what are you going to do today?
Right.
To, what's the goal for the day to move
Yes.
the bigger ball?
And that was the
you
thing
know?
my coach kept saying to me was, all right, so we, instead of setting long goals like that, he said, it was a number of conversations today about real estate.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care what you have to do. By the end of the day, you have 3 conversations about real estate. This is when things were really heating up at home, and
Yeah.
I had to stay home a lot. I had to do that a lot this past couple months. So, it was hard. Like, I actually went to the bar at 10 o'clock at night so I could have a conversation about real estate with somebody,
Yeah.
meet my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I want to know about this coach. Who
Oh.
is this person? How'd you meet this person?
Okay.
What's this person's specialty?
Yeah, so remember how I said I've tried lots of different things?
Yeah.
Well, I tried, right after I got my license back out of escrow, I tried the Tom Ferry coaching. I committed to him for a year. Whew. Yeah, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm an excellent saleswoman because I sold that to my husband.
Yeah. You convinced him it was a good idea.
Yes, I did. I got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
I got a lot of things out of it. I don't think my business really benefited all that much
Yeah.
from it. But what I did learn from coaching is that role play is essential. And role play, everyone's role playing.
Yep.
All of us are role playing. And if you're not role playing with somebody else, like a real estate agent, you're role playing with your clients. And that's expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what I learned. And then I thought scripts were, salesy and stupid, and who would do that? And why can't I just be myself? But I was convinced to practice role playing with scripts. And then, I quit. I'm like, I'm not a script person, right? Mm-hmm. And then somebody next to me at a restaurant said, oh yeah, I had my house up for sale and it didn't sell. And I had been role playing expired scripts. Mm-hmm. And I said, really? No kidding. How'd you pick your agent? And out just came this script. I mean, it was all me. It was my personality, but it was the script that I had practiced. Yeah. And I went through point by point. There's only 3 reasons a home doesn't sell in a seller's market. Right. Would you like to know what they are? Yeah. And the whole script, I had it. So So now role playing, it's important because you now sound intelligent and like you've said it a million times because you have, So
another way to describe role playing isn't so much of like running through scripts necessarily, but working on what are the talking points if this comes up.
Exactly.
It's more like what are the talking points? Yes. How are you going to reply if this comes up?
Right.
It's a guided conversation.
Yes.
Really, well, it's just super important. Like, I actually agree with you. I didn't even realize that I probably do the same thing when I'm working on a topic or I'm focused on something. I used to go, hey, are you aware of what took place for the past few years in the market? Mm-hmm.
That's a script.
Right? And all of a sudden I would jump right into well, check this out. And I would show them and I would.
Yeah.
So it's not even guided like, okay, now I'm going to control you and this conversation. Because I think so many people, when they think of scripts, they think that I'm going to put like some sort of a mind control on you and I'm going to take you along with me.
No, it's so you know how to react to everything that could happen in that conversation.
It's called preparedness, maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
So does your coach supply you with scripts or is this all from the Ferry?
Okay, so I started out with Tom Ferry, and then I was unhappy with my coach because she was fairly new and green, and I wasn't getting very far. And I had back to the scripts. I had a role play partner who was amazing. She was wonderful. She said, you know what? My coach left Tom Ferry. You should give him a call. Started his own business. Okay. That's my current coach. It was somebody who left Tom Ferry because Tom Ferry's too salesy. And the way he's doing his business model was just too all about money and not really providing service. So my coach is Dave Culwell, and he works out of Dallas, and he's been in real estate a long time.
So do you have a weekly contact with your coach or monthly?
Weekly, Wednesday mornings at 9 o'clock this morning.
Do you talk or do you Skype?
We talk on phone, And he's still launching, so it's kind of in a beta stage, and he's open about that.
He's sort of taken what he's learned from his coaching experience, sort of said, I think I want to do it, but like add in my head his own spin. So what is his spin on it that's different than Tom Ferry coaching?
Well, the first thing he says is you have to be yourself. And as far as coaching goes, he really just spends time with you as a person. So like I wasn't getting very far with my previous coach. So after the first conversation with him, one conversation.
You could see it.
That whole week I was stressed. I kept saying to my husband, I got to do this. And I can't believe I have to do this. And it's stressing me out. And my husband said, you need to fire that coach. And I said, no, he's like in my head. He got in my head the first time, So what he does is he asks you questions until he's gotten to the bottom of why you don't want to, whatever. What is your why? Why are you doing this to begin with? Can you refocus on that? Yeah.
Does he get you prospecting? Is it like how many calls do you make, how many appointments do you set, or what's the
maybe? If that's who you are, yes. He'll say, okay, well, I want you to spend a certain amount of time on the phone. I've said, I'm not calling random people and just talking to people on the phone. I'm not doing that's not who I am. Yeah. He's like, that's how we ended up with the 3 conversations a day. You need to have 3 conversations a day. You need to track that. Yep. If you're not having 3 a day, for somebody who's working full-time and not also taking care of a big house and kids and a dog and everything, you're going to have a lot more than 3 a day. You're going to be shooting for something bigger, but yeah.
But 3 days is a lot.
And
it is a lot.
When you look at it over a year.
And it has to be new conversations. It can't just be with realtors,
How long have you been working with him?
I started with him in January.
Okay. And then how will he know, or how will you know that it's working?
That's a good question. I would hope that my business would improve.
Yeah.
However, I'm in sort of a transition. We can talk about that when the cameras are off. Okay. But I think that he has gotten to the heart of what I have to do in my life with my situation to increase my business. Okay. Essentially, that's the whole thing. Is always back to how do we increase your business? Mm-hmm. So,
Okay.
So cool. Can you share you said you tried a bunch of stuff. Can you tell us about getting your feet back into the market and stuff? What did you try and what has held true so far?
So I tried cold calling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I tried Zillow. I did Zillow for a while. And Zillow was good. I mean, like if you're ready to just hop on the phone any time of day, all night, Zillow can work for you. At least it has in the past. I know that they're changing the way they do things, which is why I ended up leaving. But it can work for somebody who can do that. But if I'm having breakfast with my daughter on Saturday morning at 9:00 and that Zillow call comes in, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm answering.
Yeah.
So, and I was answering them for the first, 3, 4, 5 months. I was ditching my kids and my family and answering calls, and I realized this can't be happening. That's not good business.
So you did cold calling. What did you call?
Okay, I did cold calling. I did the coaching, and then a door knocking. I did get one for door knocking.
Okay.
I open houses. I think that my business, the best I've ever done, has been around open houses.
Yeah.
Because you get to talk to people, you get to pull them out of themselves, and find out what their why is, what's their need, and how can I meet their need, and that just pulls business in automatically.
It becomes much more conversational than sort of just like I would say I echo that same kind of a thing. My open houses were my number one. If I needed leads, it was open houses.
Yeah. So I had a really cool listing downtown Muskegon, right on the strip, Webster there, a historic home, and I just rocked that listing. I did a twilight open house on a Thursday night, I did a 4-hour open house on a Saturday, I had a 2-hour open house that Sunday, and we had it sold by Wednesday, right? So that was what we did, but I spent lots of time talking to people coming in and out of that house. I invited everybody to come. I put out 21 signs, like open house signs all over downtown.
I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then from there, Michael and Alana Brower walked through the front door, and I talked to them a little bit about their house, and so it wasn't just picking up people and instantly having business from them. It was listening to what their needs are, because I heard 2 or 3 people say, I need a house, I want this, and I heard them say, we're getting ready to get rid of our house, but it's going to be a while, and so as I'm trying to help these people find what they're looking for, one of them crossed. I said, you need a house, they want to get rid of one, so I called them both. I got one, I got somebody,
nice.
I got somebody, so that's how it started.
Yeah, that's great.
Just like that.
Do you have like
I sold their house too.
A sphere of influence? A database that you connect with, or are you just out, drumming up business?
I do not really have a good sphere. No, my son has special needs, and we don't really go out in public very much because he can't handle it. It's not good for him. It's not really good for the public either, because it's just not. It gets ugly. So over the last 13, 14 years, we haven't been out much. We haven't stood on the sidelines of soccer and met the parents like most parents do. So. No. So I'm doing a few things to build my sphere. Would you like to hear what they are?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. So I speak Italian. That's something I did when I was home with kids. And so I started a language exchange group where we all meet once a month and we practice the languages we speak. Like we've got someone from France, and so.
That's awesome. I've been following along with that, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, it looks like it's growing in popularity.
It kind of slumped in the winter, but we're getting back up there.
Summer, yep.
Yeah. So that, and then I'm involved in the Autism Network of Muskegon County, and we're putting together an event called Touch a Truck, and we're gonna have a whole bunch of like big dump trucks and front loaders and all this stuff downtown Muskegon.
Cool.
So we're gonna invite everybody down. Probably have a couple bounce houses and stuff. So, and then so this. Getting to know these people, knowing the contacts, is just sort of developing, building my sphere, and it's fun. I'm serving the community, and I'm doing things I like, and not everything turns to real estate, and that's okay. That's not what it's about. It's about giving, So.
Does everyone know in your language group? Are they aware that who you are and you're a realtor, or you just like softball that, or like sometimes?
Well. Whenever I have papers or something to bring, it shows up in a 5-star folder.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah.
Right. I always come from work. In my professional dress.
Okay.
Okay. And if I send out an email, my 5-star stuff's at the bottom. And some of those conversations have already turned to real estate.
Cool.
But that wasn't the purpose of it. I mean, yes, it was to expand my sphere, but it was also to practice my Italian. So it just became part of my life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So do you have, in your business, do you have presentations? How do you work with people? Do you have a listing presentation, a buyer's packet, or are you just kind of all verbal stuff?
Just flag me. That's the last question.
You know, I'm a lot of just verbal.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't, as I drove in here, I saw all these gorgeous homes and they're just packed together and there's lots of them. Well, that Muskegon's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
2 of the houses I sold last year had no comps, 0.
Mm-hmm.
So putting something together and saying, here's the value of your house and here's why
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really work, You have to sort of look backwards and compensate for the change in the market and look at you have to also look at square footage and price per square foot. But I think that if you can get them to believe that the market's going to correct your price, let's start where you want to start.
Yeah, the market's going to tell you one way or another.
Even if we price it really low, that could be fun because then we get lots and lots of offers and it sells really fast. And
I think it's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to undersell a house right now, honestly, with the market because there's just not enough houses and people are gonna come a knocking.
Yeah. So.
That's good. What happened with the questions?
Oh, I was just getting so many text messages and emails. I was like, I just gotta close this thing. It was distracting. It was bing, 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 constantly. So I'm like.
So in your real estate, in your experience so far, is there 1 or 2 things that you think you're really good at? Like skills? Maybe you're
I am really good
what's
at
your
connecting.
secret?
I'm really good at connecting with people.
Okay.
Yeah. What do we have in common?
Yeah.
Food.
Your dad died, my dad died. He did, truly. Yeah. I mean, what, food. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, but there's something.
There's always something.
Yeah.
And if there's not, then just ask them more questions and listen to them.
Yeah. So connecting with people, which is good.
Yeah.
Because then you build rapport and then you offer service. I can help you with that.
And then I make sure I connect with everyone on Facebook too after. Yeah.
So you have a Facebook. That functions as a database then.
Somewhat.
Kind of.
Somewhat.
So going back to your 3 contacts a day.
Yes.
How do you decide who you're going to contact today?
I still don't make those
question.
calls because for some reason for me that just feels salesy, and if it feels salesy, it is salesy.
Yeah, it's gonna feel weird for the other person who's receiving the call.
Yeah.
So what do you do? I mean,
I make sure I get out of the house every day.
So you get out of the house and you just go bump into somebody?
Yep. If I say I'm a realtor, that counts. So anybody new that you've met that doesn't know you're a realtor, if you say I'm a realtor, that counts as a real estate conversation. Okay. So I was meeting with the guy down at Martdock where we're going to have our event, and we were talking about, it usually looks better than this out here. Oh yeah, I'm a realtor. I know the yards look bad right now. Bam, I have a conversation.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's good. Do you have a routine for your day? I'm sure you do, but when do you try to have these conversations right away, or do you wait, or is it different? Do you wake up with a routine of your life is what I'm asking. Do you have an office?
I have 2 offices, one in my house and one at the office.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have 2 phones. I see right there on the
2
table.
phones.
What's the story with that?
I like
Is
technology. This is the phone that I had,
and
that everybody called me on and texted me on until 10 o'clock at night, and when I was out with my kids, and that's that phone, right?
Yep.
This phone is business.
Yeah.
Right? So, if I really need some peace and quiet, this one is dead and has to go on the charger.
Yeah.
And I only carry this one because only my family has the number of this one. And if I'm going to be surfing Facebook for a half hour, it's this one.
Yeah.
Because I'm not getting pinged and ponged.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like you just were.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, this is, like I said, I've tried lots of different things. This is a new try thing. It's getting a little tedious. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to stay or not. We'll see. Okay. Yeah.
So what would be some things that you do routinely in your week? You say you have 3 conversations. Do you try to have them 3 a day?
Yes.
Do you get all your stuff done at home and then go and have lunch somewhere or run into stuff? How does it? I just want to flow of your day.
What does it look like? I get up and I get my kids off to school. I get ready for my day. I make my bed. That's essential. If you don't make your bed, your day is like crap.
Who else told us that?
Oh,
you know what it was? Was it Julie Reisner?
Maybe.
No.
I can't remember.
It's a psychology thing, actually.
Yeah.
So once you've made your bed, you've accomplished something.
Yes.
And once you've accomplished something, success breeds success for the rest of your day.
So make your bed.
Interesting.
Yeah, make your bed. It's not that hard. It only takes a minute. Really, it only takes a minute, and it feels so good.
I know. You do feel like you did something. Bed.
I pulled the cover over and dumped all these socks on the bed today, so it probably doesn't count. But
No, but you need to have like some really nice throw pillows.
Yeah.
And then you put those up there, and it just feels so
Yeah,
good.
and then in the evenings when you come home, you're like,
you could take the
look at
pillow
that.
off. Yeah,
it's all clean.
Yeah,
and
right.
crisp feeling.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it is nice. So then I make the bed, and I start the laundry, and I start the dishes, and then I look at my schedule because usually I've got lots of appointments, not real estate, but like lots of other things going on, right? So when I squeeze in the morning, I try to squeeze in anything that I have to do that's real estate related or phone calls or whatever I have to do. And then I go pick up my son. It all goes together.
And then you
It's
run your
not
schedule.
separated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you said you have an office at
In my
Muskegon?
house. Yeah, I have an office in the Muskegon office on Henry Street.
You try to get there every
Were
day?
there 2 desks in your office at your house? Was one for your husband?
Yeah.
Okay. Does he work from home?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, well, he just never stops working.
Okay. So he
Ever.
yeah. What does he do?
He runs a plant for Arconic. Do you know?
Okay.
You know Alcoa, Arconic. They've changed names so many times.
I
They
just
were-
passed Arconic. Where was I? I was up in
Whitehall.
Whitehall. That's
Yeah,
right. I was
where
in
it is.
Whitehall. Yeah.
So it was Helmet and Alcoa. Now it's Arconic. And so, yes, he runs a plant up there.
I was surprised at how large it was.
It's big.
It was like Arconic owned everything in this little area.
They do.
Okay.
They're the biggest employer up there, yeah.
So being kind of getting your feet back into the market, what has been a couple of your biggest struggles, and then how have you overcome those? Because there'll be other people who are just starting it, and it gets sometimes for some people it's like boom, they just take off running, and other
Yeah.
people are like, whoa, what's going on here?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with how you talk to yourself.
Okay.
You know, like if you're like, oh, this isn't working, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You have to say, why isn't this working? What can I do different? You know, and you have to have a vision. You have to have faith in yourself and have a vision for the future. You know, like I know this is going to pick up. I just have to work at it and keep going. But if you're doing the this isn't working, I don't know why I don't have more business, and all those things that happen to even me, we all do it. You have to be able to flip it and say, oh no, you know, why isn't this working? Let me change what I'm doing.
Is that a function of just how you've trained yourself to think of like you switch the
Yes.
you're reframing the questions in your own head?
Yes.
Do you do affirmations and things like that? Because I hear a lot of that
Not really.
around. Okay.
Personality-wise, though, have you ever taken any personality tests? Like
No, that
Myers-Briggs,
sounds really scary.
StrengthsFinders, Enneagram.
No, I don't think I want to
Okay.
know.
Okay.
I'm curious because there's certain personality types that are reframers by nature. They're very. I'm a reframer,
Yeah.
constantly reframing everything.
No, I'm by nature more like Leo.
Okay.
Yes, it work to reframe
Okay.
what I'm thinking. It's work. But you know what? I had to because I had a son with autism and things were really hard and really bad. And there was a moment when life was not worth living. This is not worth it. This is not the parenting I signed up for. And I had to survive, learn to reframe the way I was thinking. This is okay. I can do this. These are the cards I'm dealt. Let's play.
Yeah.
You know, I had to. So when I started doing that, because I had to, it got easier in every other aspect of my life.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
That's really great. You know, we used to ask, do you think there's a silver bullet or a secret sauce to real estate? And we'd always say, no, there isn't. No, there isn't. But I was thinking, as we've done a number of these interviews, that there is a secret, but it's like personalized. Like she is really good at connecting and reframing. That would be the secret, you know, to her success as you go along.
Well, the success
Other
part
people
is
have-
still out for debate.
Yeah,
just
well,
so you know.
I mean,
A successful life, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
I do
you're
have a
doing stuff
successful
like that.
life. I do.
But I
I think
yes.
there's a few things that are, you know, quote unquote silver, part of the silver bullet. It's like are you likable,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, are you trustworthy?
Yeah.
Do they think you're trustworthy?
Yeah.
And do you have like that grit or determination to keep pushing even though it's going to be tough, especially in the beginning, when it feels like this is never going to turn for me, the switch is never going to flip to on, I'm never going to get this thing off the ground.
Right.
And if you can push through that and keep going, I think that you will succeed. But I think that I think you have to have that mentality of, like you said, vision and belief that that tomorrow is going to be better than today,
Yeah.
that the future is going to look differently if you keep going every day.
Right. Yeah, and none of us is perfect at that. I mean, just because I
Right.
say to do that doesn't mean I'm great at it. You know, I went into Pam Avrill's office. No, she came into my office, and I said, Pam, I don't know. am I in the right business? And she said, yes, you are, Megan.
Yeah.
You're good at this. Just be patient.
Yep.
So, if you've got mentors and people surrounded by people, and 5-star is full of agents that are like that, really supportive, go get it, you can do this, people. So,
Yeah, I agree.
So this is interesting. I was thinking about trying to help people to think about what am I good at in real estate, and that's kind of like the opening door for you to have a successful life. Like Reed, I mean, what's his secret of success? He's totally determined. Calls people out of the phone book. Reed.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, I
And
love
so,
Reed. He's like my kid.
Yeah.
And so if you go, what's the secret? And he'd be like, come to work, man.
Yeah.
You stay disciplined, and he
Yeah.
has mindset, and he's like, I'm going to do this, and he has a plan, and he thinks it's going to be better.
He was sick last week. I just talked to him yesterday. He was
Yeah.
sick last week. And he's flipping making phone calls from bed.
Wow.
As long as I don't sound too congested. I said,
Yeah.
Reed, no, you're supposed to rest when you're sick. Rest.
Wow.
But he's having conversations, and so are you. You're just not
Yes.
phone calling.
I'm not calling.
The more, like Andy Smith said, it's funny. The more people I talk to, the more business I find.
I think
That's brilliant. That's totally it.
Yeah.
So-
I think everyone has their own canvas,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone's got to paint on the canvas, but you got to try. You got to keep going. You got to keep pushing. Reed can do it through his direction, like you just said.
Yeah.
You can do it your way. I did it my way. I mean, it took me a few years to get myself off the ground.
Yeah.
And I remember clearly the first 2 or 3 years, I was maybe earning like $25,000 a year, and then like year 4 and 5. Also, I was 21 when I first started,
Yeah.
which was really tough. None of my friends were. I didn't really have a sphere that was buying houses,
Right.
so I was forced to get good at open houses, and I was forced to have those awkward conversations that ended up not being awkward after time.
And you didn't have the wrinkles of credibility.
Yeah.
You know the number one question I would receive? Do you even own a home?
Yep.
People would always ask me, do you own a home?
Of course.
And thankfully, I did buy a home within my first year back. I found a way to buy a home, and I had renters living with me. So I could say, yes, in fact, I do own a home. But I will say, too, that when I turned 25, I got married, and I started wearing a wedding band. Also, I will argue that changed things for me. Because when I sat at the table, there was some level of trust. Like, so someone believes in you.
Right.
Like, someone likes you
Right.
enough to commit to you.
Right.
You must not be totally crazy. So I think there was a couple things in my life. And then once I had my first child, then I could have conversations about kids, and the whole thing sort of grew to the point where I think when I was like 28, I think I sold like 58 houses. But it took me a while
Yeah.
to get there. I mean, it didn't just happen overnight. I
No.
was 21. It was like a few, and 20, and it was a slow build for me. But
If you have faith in that's
Yeah.
going to happen, it will
Yeah.
happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my last question is do you have a slogan you live by, or a favorite quote that rumbles around in your head a lot?
It's okay. So yes, I do. Can I tell you the story about this?
Yeah.
My daughter, it was in an event. I have 2 daughters, oldest and middle. The oldest is about to leave home. The middle one is up. She's getting ready to go up on stage. She's in some theater stuff, and she goes, "I just hope I don't stumble." And I said, "It's okay to stumble." And my 18-year-old, who's sitting next to my other daughter, at the same moment, we both said it. It's okay to stumble. And so I'm like, okay, I guess she learned it. you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to
That's
stumble.
great.
It's okay to stumble. Just keep going.
Yeah.
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 Megan, this is delightful. You're
Thank you.
very interesting, and I hope you continue to have a great year.
Me
So
too.
I think you will.
You will.
I will. It's springtime.
Spring.
It's real estate season.
It looks
so
a little
let's-
more like fall right
Yes,
now, but it's okay.
But it's
I'm
just
super
starting.
pumped.
In Michigan, real estate season is just starting. So
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, that's
Well,
all we got
all right.
today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for coming. That's 40 minutes.
Oops.
Are we?
Just like that.
We're still
Are
on.
we still on?
Oh,
Are you
that's
gonna
fine.
send us off?
I thought you were going to do the high five. That's
Oh.
what you do. Yeah.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Did I get one from you?
Sure.
All right.
Yep, and if you need Muskegon food recommendations, you guys can reach out. She has
Yep.
a lot of good
Yep.
spots for
I do,
you.
yep.
She gave us a bunch of amazing gifts from Rikes.
Rikes. No,
Rikes.
Rikes. Like Dick Van Dyke, it's
Yeah.
Reich.
We got
Yep.
Rikes baked goods
Yeah.
here, so thank you very much. All right, everybody, signing
Thanks.
off.
Thanks, Megan.
Yes, you're welcome.